Greetings, people of the heart, wherever you find yourself on this beautiful blue, green, brown, rainbow-colored miracle we call home, floating amidst the darkness. Hear my words. Long ago, after the flood, we congregated in a great city along the eastern shores. And in those days, there's a story told today of the Seven Fires prophecy. It's one of our most sacred spiritual experiences that guided our paths back across the continent as we were before. While we were living on these eastern shores, there was a day, and we were led by the path of the heart, or Day we win. We had grandmother Nokomises, we had grandfather chiefs, and they followed the way of the path of the heart. We needed no police and no courts, because we chose to live with every thought. It's a decision you make every day, that every thought, every word, and every action, to the best of your ability, as the beginning point of your universe that you are existing in, that you are the chief of your universe. That we do these things with wisdom and respect, in humility and honesty, in truth and courage and love with the heart, courage, bravery. And that when we do these things as the center of our universe, that universe will work for your good. And that along your path, it's sort of like the story of the 4 mosquitoes. The 4 mosquitoes are flying through the forest. Well, they all shared the same birth, but they all don't share the same path. But each path has meaning and purpose. The first mosquito hits a tree. The second mosquito gets eaten by an animal, a frog. The third mosquito lands in a spider web. And the fourth mosquito, somehow living its life, following the warmth of the sun and believing in its heart, just as that seed growing in the earth, that it has everything inside of it already to be the best itself, the best self. You have everything in you. And as this last mosquito is flying and seeing the sun set, it starts to glide down and fall to the earth. And as it does, it blacks out. In its experience, it is going through this. And it falls to the earth. And each had a journey, a story to tell. Each are a drop of water from the sea that fell. Things to think about. So in these days of the telling of the Seven Fires prophecy, we had an event occur in the Atlantic Ocean. A ship came out of the water that looked like a mega shell. It's a little cowrie shell. It's very sacred, as the little cowrie shell is the spirit that the Creator put into man, blowing through it, so that man remembers to be humble, that you only have this much spirit from the Creator. And so one of these came out of the water, obviously larger, and off of it came 7 people, beings. We call these star people. And they were prophets, meaning that they could tell us of the future of 7 ages. And the first prophet came forward and said that there must be the time where they will follow the sacred mega shell and head west. That they must go west, and they must return to where they were before. They must follow the mega shell, the Medui, the middle wind, the path of the heart. And in the telling of the story of that first journey returning west, they saw the mega shell in the sky and in the water, and they followed it. It's very similar to that other tribe across the world. And they were to find a sacred island that would pertain to the spiritual purity and return to purity of the earth. And this would be a sacred place where rice grows on the water. Now, we Pembina Chippewa, we know that this island is Graham Island. It's where Chief Little Shell is buried. And it's before their construction and development, it was the shape of a turtle. And it's very sacred water, Miniwakan, spirit water. And that's why that grave is very sacred to us. It's a part of the Seven Fires prophecy that was given to our people, that every Algonquin people tells this story for hundreds and hundreds and thousands, if not a few thousand years. And So this first prophet said, you're going to journey west and follow. You're going to follow the sacred Migashel, and you're going to go to a sacred island, and 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 you'd find a mighty river that poured between two sweetwater lakes. And we know this place is Niagara Falls. But so there's many tellings of the Seven Fires prophecy, because there's many stopping places for many people, and each one is right, each one is correct. There are even those in the Rocky Mountains, the Nimipu, the Nez Perce, who tell the Seven Fires story. Miigwech for listening. We're going to start talking about each of these. So as the first prophet finished informing the people that there would be people from across the water who would come, and if they did not return from where they came from before, that they would be destroyed, and the path of the heart would be surely lost from upon the earth. Now the second star being came forth and told that they would know they were in the second fire when they'd be camped by sweet water, and they would have lost the way. They will not know which direction to go. And a little boy will be born that will help them return to the path of the heart and return on their journey. This is the story of the little eagle boy. I'll share that with you sometime. But they would know when the little boy would help them return to the path, as if walking on stepping stones across the creek. So this was the message from the second star person. After the second prophet, the second star being had returned, the third one stepped forward and said, when you are on the path again towards finding the places, there's many, as you go on your way, where the food grows on water, which we know to be rice, wild rice, then you will find yourself in the third fire. And then the third star being stepped back, and the fourth star being stepped forward. The fourth prophet stepped forward as two, but they spoke as one. And the first star being said that in the time of the fourth age, that people with light skin, they would come. This is the age, this is the period that they would come from across the water. And if they came with the face of brotherhood, kindness, and love, then we would join as a mighty nation, and our information and our histories would blend together for goodness. And two other nations would join with us, and we would be the mightiest nation of them all in kindness. And then the second of the fourth prophet spoke and said that if they came with the face of death, which can look like the face of brotherhood because it's the face of greed and manipulation, coming with a smile and a handshake and a deceptive thought. If they came with this and they were suffering with disease and they had weapons, then we should worry, because this would be a time of suffering. As the fourth prophet stepped back, they said one last message: you will know you are in the age of the fourth fire, when the rivers are no longer fit to drink and the fish are no longer fit to eat. And then the fifth star being the fifth prophet stepped forward. Now the fifth star being the fifth prophet spoke and said, in that time of the fifth fire, there will be a great struggle between the way of thinking of the light-skinned race and that of the natural man in the path of the heart. And that there would come amongst us those who would be preaching great salvation if we set aside the ways of our natural ways and we pick up their ways, that we would find true happiness in this life. But this comes by a way of falseness and deception. And those who take that path, the fifth prophet said, would surely lead to their destruction. Now the sixth star being stepped forward, the sixth messenger, the sixth prophet, and said, in the time of the sixth fire, that promise that was accepted during the fifth fire of those preaching great salvation, if you set aside the natural ways of the natural man, that in this time it would prove to have been come in a false way. They would take our children from us, and they would lose their cultural connection and their languages. And the elders would lose their hope and purpose in life. And truly in this time of the sixth fire, the cup of life surely would become the cup of grief for the natural people. And the sixth prophet The sixth star being stepped back, and the seventh
The seventh
stepped
prophet
forward.
was younger than the others who had come, and there was glowing light from within his eyes. He said that there would come a time when the waters had been so poisoned that the animals and plants that lived there would become sick and die. Much of the forest and prairies would be gone, so the air would begin to lose the power of life. The way of the mind brought to the red, black, and yellow peoples by the white peoples would bring danger to the whole earth. In this time, there would be a new people on the path of the heart who will emerge from the clouds of illusion, from the past in today's day. They will retrace their steps to find the treasures that had been left by the trail. The stories that had been lost will be remembered to them. They will remember the original instructions and find the circle, the strength and the way of the circle. Their search will take them to many elders, and the new people on the path of the heart will ask them for guidance. But many of the elders will have walked the path of souls to the star web. They will have died. And many elders will have forgotten their wisdom, and they will not be able to help. They will be sleeping. Some of the elders will point in the wrong direction, and others will remain silent because of their fear. Some of the elders will be silent because no one has asked them for their wisdom. Surely it will be lost if they do not. If the new people on the path of the heart will find trust in the way of all things, in the circle, in unity, in kindness, in the true power and peace, they will no longer need the selfish voice of the ego, and they can begin to trust their inner voice. Wisdom will be once again found in the dreams of the night and of the day. The sacred fire will once again be lit. The light-skinned people will be given a choice between these two paths. If they choose the right path, the seventh fire will light the eighth fire. The final fire of brotherhood and sisterhood will begin. But if they choose the wrong path, remaining on the path of the mind, devoid of the heart, then the destruction they brought with them will come back to destroy them. And the people of the earth will experience much suffering and death. After the seventh prophet had finished, they boarded their meagre shell, and they returned into the water. And that is the telling of the seven fires prophecy, given to our peoples thousands of years ago. We stand as those in the seventh fire, 7 generations removed from the prayers of the grandmothers and grandfathers for you and me today, that we could speak with their voice as their blood flows through our veins and the heartbeats, that sacred drumbeat in our chest, we share unconnected to them and with each other. Remember the Iron Confederacy. Remember who we are. Assiniboine, remember the Iron Confederacy. Remember who you are. Métis, remember the Iron Confederacy. Sioux, remember the Iron Confederacy. Cree, remember the Iron Confederacy. Ojibway, we are one mighty united people. And an invisible line stretched in the middle of us in 1872 without our permission, in violation of the 1794 Jay Border Crossing Treaty and Wampum Agreement. It cut our singular, unified, mighty nation of the Council of Three Fires in half. And 130 or 40 years doesn't remove thousands of years of unity. What will be the 8th generation's world in Native American reality? Unity is the Creator's gift. From the sparkling stars of your grandchild's eyes, can you still hear the Creator upon the wind? As the soaring eagle flies high in the sky, calling for you to wipe the tears from tomorrow's years. Be free. We are one. And it's time to return to the path of the heart. It's time to return to the sacred water drums, to be heard again in the lodge.
every day. Miigwech, Gigawabami Menewa, until we speak again.